All right. It's 10 o'clock sharp on Wednesday, which means it's Kita Listing Coach. My name is Russ Fitzpatrick. I'm a 40-year veteran in the residential real estate space. As a real estate agent, trained by Mike Ferry in the 80s, and Tom Hopkins and Walter Sanford and Floyd Wickman, my mentor and my most influential trainer, Floyd Wickman's Sweat Hog course. I was also trained quite a bit by Tom Ferry, Craig Proctor, and Brian Buffini over the years. This is a 40-year journey for me. And over the last 4 years, during the pandemic, with historically low interest rates, one of the mortgage banking executives that I worked for decided to spend, I don't know, $400,000 on leads. And maybe more. I don't know the exact number. But as he was spending, $70, $80, $90, $100,000 a year, a month, on leads, we really perfected the wants and needs analysis. The best we could do was about 70% of the people that filled out the lead form, would actually do a full wants and needs analysis, which we thought was an achievement. Happy to share our wants and needs analysis script with you. It is effective, and it does result in a credit pull about half the time. So when we do a wants and needs analysis, our first objective isn't what they want to buy. That's not the first part of the analysis. The first part of the analysis is, where do you live now? Are you renting? Do you own? And that's where the juice starts to build. How much are you paying now in rent? How much do you pay now in mortgage? How much are you used to paying per month? How much would you like to pay per month? What are you hoping to buy? Are you thinking you might buy a townhouse, villa? You hoping to get on a golf course? You hoping to get on a little canal or a lake? What's your hopes? What's your wants? What's your needs? And separating wants and needs is the best way to separate lookers from buyers. And I want to be sincere and hopefully effective with you to help you become more efficient. If your wants and needs analysis is half-assed, your buyer brokerage presentation is going to be half-assed. If your wants and needs analysis does not separate lookers from buyers, then you're going to be taking buyers out who don't end up buying a house, right? If a consumer goes all the way through a wants and needs analysis and 50% of them don't want to, 42%, whatever, don't want to do a credit pull, that's absolutely fine with us. We were okay with that. They can go back into the hopper and they can start to think about whether or not they want to buy a house. But I can assure you, if you were my aunt, if you were my brother, if you were my cousin, even if you had an 800 credit score and $1 million in the bank, I would still be advising you that, a mortgage probably is in your future. So getting to take a look at your debts and income, getting to take a look at your debt service and your debt to income ratio is part of why we want to pull credit at the initial conversation, because about 85% of our consumers that contact us are going to need a mortgage. Depends on what market you're in. I've heard as low as 50% of the people need a mortgage in some markets. But the next step for us, if a wants and needs analysis reveals clear mortgage-free purchasing, or the rare occasion that a buyer already has a mortgage pre-qualification, then we just immediately switch it to, would you allow us to speak with your mortgage banker? And would you ever consider a second opinion on the mortgage? Those don't work out quite as well, but we are able to qualify them through their mortgage banker then, so we don't waste time with them. I mean, you've got to be firm about the people that you work with. You've got to be really firm and draw a line in the sand between who you take in your car and who you don't, right? So when we get a 1003 full mortgage application, only a couple percentage points fall off of that and move into document processing. Once we get a TBD, to be determined, we basically are working with a cash buyer from a standpoint of mortgage pre-qualification. We can remove the mortgage contingency because we have an approval, and we can put in other contingencies like inspection and appraisal. But the to be determined pre-approval is a sexy, sexy resource. If you understand the language between pre-qualification and TBD, you start to understand that there's an advantage to the buyer to go all the way through the mortgage process prior to shopping if possible, but at least be working on the mortgage processing while they're shopping. Common sense to me, but God, I know millions of broke ass realtors that don't take their wants and needs analysis seriously enough to really separate lookers from buyers. Now, this is what I want to show you, this Mendoza line here, which is not caused by interest rate crisis. I mean, this idea that 5 and 6 and 7% interest rates are out of whack, I don't understand that, because the 50-year running average for mortgages was more than 7%. So, mortgage rates only dipped below the industry average to stimulate the economy during COVID. Like, nobody with a brain is expecting 3, 4, and 5% interest rates again. We're hoping, a high fives may happen again, or a low sixes may happen again. Maybe I'm wrong, and the Fed is going to start giving away money again. But you know what happens when they give away money? Inflation. So they're not going to be looking to give away money for free anytime soon, because they want to control inflation. But look at that drop off right there. And I hope you understand this in your world. The National Association of Realtors president just said on national TV that interest rates are not the problem, that employment is so strong in the US, it's just the fact that there's no inventory. And that's what the National Association of Realtors president said. He said there's no inventory. So even though we got 18% of all the consumers that we paid for to go out shopping with realtors, we only got 4% of them to go to contract, inspect, and appraise, and only 2% over the entirety of the 3-year experiment ever went to closing. And if you think, oh, Russ, that's because you suck at this. No, it's not. We're exceptional at this. We had the best ISAs, we had the best drip campaigns, we had the best conversion ratios, we had the best documentation. Now, let me pre-qualify this pre-qualification journey. If I'm an individual real estate agent that's loaded up with charisma, yeah, I could probably do better than that one-on-one. But when you're managing a sales force of different types of realtors, different skill sets, different sales philosophies, different scripts entirely, and like a Mark Spain or a Rob D or a Lori Finkelstein Reader, these folks absolutely require that their agents follow a formula and use the dialogue that they mandate. So they might see 3, 4, and 5%, 6%, 7% closing ratios individually with an individual sales philosophy. Where we were hampered is by the variety of skill sets among a nationwide audience of realtors, right? That was where the Achilles heel found out. Because we had, like today at Hero Benefits Network, we have dozens and dozens of competent, curious, humble servant leaders that are making a fortune. And then we have a few realtors that don't know how to do that. So we have to teach them how to do a proper wants and needs analysis and really focus on that Mendoza line just under the shopping experience as to what's happening from the time they go out shopping to the time they go to contract, because that's where there's no listings to buy, there's no fight. So I want you to imagine, if you will, the same mathematics that we just looked at on this screen, but with a voucher in their hand. It's not a loan, doesn't affect their credit, it never needs to be repaid. This is just a grant. This is a relocation grant from a formidable nonprofit. And these 501c3 charitable organizations will gift your buyer up to $10,000 when they relocate. So now you've got this sort of golden handcuffs, golden guardrails, sort of win-win-win quadrant or equation at least, where the consumer is a little stickier. I'm not looking to lose my 10 grand relocation grant anytime soon. So I want to go ahead and stick with the program after I go out shopping, whether it's $4,000 or $5,000 or it's a $10,000 relocation grant. It's significant enough, we found, to sort of bond the consumer with our organization during the shopping process, if you know what I mean. So Hero Benefits Network is a nonprofit 501c3. My name is Russ Fitzpatrick. I'm one of the executive directors of this nonprofit. I also run Works Partner, which is a free teaching, training, and coaching company sponsored entirely by mortgage and title companies across the country. And Works Partner has been my baby for the past 14 years. So when we're analyzing production from mortgage bankers, we find that most of the mortgage bankers' production come from you. And I'm going to just analyze this data for just a second. This is our 2021 through 24 analysis. And what it turned out is that our mortgage bank, most of the blue ink on your screen was realtor referred purchase business. Then we had some brokerage level relationships where the broker owners, lead system, and their sales force were all combined with us. That's the brick red color there on the bottom left-hand side. Then we fought and beat the hell out of our heads, smashing our heads up against the wall with Consumer Direct in the green. And then there's this purple, and I want to point this out for many of you realtors so that you understand the conundrum that you are dealing with your mortgage professionals. When they high-five themselves in October at the President's Club meeting, or they high-five each other at the sales, summit, they forget that all of those refis, like 95% of their refis that they did during the COVID pandemic were realtor referred when you met them. So yeah, you're a real stud, buddy. You're 2006 through 2016, you were a mortgage banker. 70% of your business was realtor referred for that 10-year period. So when the interest rates dropped, all those refis came back to you, but they were realtor referred past customers. You just didn't acknowledge that. So why I'm bringing that up to my realtor friends is I've been in the mortgage, real estate, and title business my whole life, 40 years. And I know that arrogant mortgage bankers don't appreciate realtors enough. I've been in the meetings when they say things like, we don't need these stinking realtors. Or they say things like, I wish I could just do the deals without talking to the realtors. Or they say, I wish I could just get the deals from Consumer Direct. But what you find year in, year out, is they need the realtors. And that's what I'm leveraging. The tail is starting to wag the dog here. We are becoming the Robin Hood of the real estate, mortgage, and title business. So we're stealing money from the rich and we're giving it to the essential workers. We're stealing money from the rich and we're gifting it to the first responders in that market, because I know that the mortgage mathematics that I've been watching for 25, 30 years is all realtor referred when you met them. And if you're paying for Lending Tree leads, or you're paying for Zillow leads, or you're paying for Google pay-per-click, you're not getting the same return on investment that you're getting from your realtor referred business. And that's what I want to teach you guys how to leverage as realtors. I've been leveraging mortgage revenue in my real estate business for 40 years. I've been leveraging title revenue in my real estate business for 40 years. And this is before RESPA and CFPP called it legal. It was never legal for mortgage bankers and title agencies to give money to realtors, but could you leverage their revenue in co-branded collaboration? Yes, you can. You could steal from the rich and give to the essential workers and make more money for yourself. So by using this term with your wants and needs analysis, let's see how much of a grant you qualify for. Let's collaborate with our mortgage bankers and title agencies so that even agents can run a Hero Benefits division inside of their own personal real estate brand, right? So by collaborating with mortgage and title, what we're doing essentially is we are lessening the burden on the realtor, right? In other words, because the mortgage banker and the title agency make money off the realtor, we want to get the mortgage banker and the title agency to participate. You know, that means they're hosting lunch and learns, or they're hosting maybe certifications to certify your brokerage realtors, or they're co-branded and collaborating on listing resources. So working together with mortgage and title, loving the same audience, is sort of a form of the tail wagging the dog, in my opinion. Meaning we get the customers first. We do, realtors. We love on the customer enough that they're loyal to us. And 75% of the time, my customers pick the mortgage company I tell them to, or ask them if they want to get pre-qualified through. So when we say, let's find out how much you qualify for, that's kind of like the way that the WWE tag team tags out, right? Like he's on the side of the ring, you're getting in there beat up, finding out wants and needs analysis and all that. And then you turn to her and say, tag, let's find out how much you qualify for. So now your mortgage and title company become an augmentation of your personal real estate brand. Using Hero Benefits to elevate your personal real estate brand, we see that having a weekly meeting, giving your mortgage and title company assignments, maybe it's social media assignments, maybe it's some social media promotions, maybe it's just testimonials about you, the realtor, in their social media. So you're expanding your influence. Every time you do a weekly meeting with your mortgage and title partners, you can come up with accountability and assignments for each other. And then if I had a brokerage with 15 or 20 agents and I had my own mortgage partner, my own title partner, I'd go ahead and have a pizza party, sharing best practices with the agents. So this is a passion of mine. The word culture matters. I want to thank Jay Duran for that one. But the central purpose of the relationship matters. The competition, belonging, and interaction with my mortgage and title agency matters. If we're going to buy leads, we're going to buy them together. If we're going to do any networking, we're going to do it together. And we're going to know in advance what we're doing together in my community, because I'm the realtor. So I am the keeper of the gate. And the confidence of a realtor should go up, not down. The confidence of a realtor going into 2025 should be very, very high, because these mortgage bankers and title agencies need you. So I mentioned key to listing coach is what I'd really like to call it. But key to coaching for real estate is about growing your business, increasing your income. This is not a learning session to understand how our rebates work or how our relocation grants work, but instead it's a call to action for you to, learn how you can manifest more listings and buyers. So if you look at the agenda for today, we're going to recap some of the things from last week, and then we're going to show you the art of specialization. I did a post this morning. I believe that specialization is the first listing magnet. When Penny Sheehan in Deer Creek at Deer Creek Real Estate had been working the Deer Creek real estate market for 16 years, and Penny Sheehan's bus benches and Penny Sheehan's office featured the Deer Creek subdivision as their area of specialization, my mother-in-law fired my ass as her realtor and listed with Penny Sheehan, my mother-in-law. But I couldn't argue with her, because my office was 40 minutes from there, and Penny Sheehan was the Deer Creek specialist of Deerfield Beach, Florida. So when I lost that listing to my own mother-in-law, I learned that I lost it because of that art of specialization. So we want to touch on that a little bit today. And then we want to just end on the calling of Hero Benefits Network and what we get to do together, not what we got to do together, but what we get to do together. And then you can always access me. I talked to 2 mortgage bankers yesterday by lunchtime, and they called me on my own cell phone. You can do that. I'm an essential employee relocation company. That's what I do. And I also work for Hero Benefits Network as an executive director of the nonprofit. And then finally, I run a teaching, training, and coaching company called Works Partner, which you can Google. Works Partner is my baby. I licensed that training platform for $6.5 million to mortgage banks during the last 14 years. And I'm very, very proud to invite you to Works Partner, free from any charge. If you ask me, I gave you guys 6 hours worth of assignments last week. And I'll bet you if you were on last week, you don't even maybe note that. I hope you do. But if you didn't, let's go back to the heart of the matter. Like, don't call me on the phone and don't ask to have a verbal conversation with the executive director of Hero Benefits Network, with the president and founder of Works Partner, or with a 40-year veteran who sold 3,500 homes as a real estate agent and a broker, if you don't have a plan. If you want a plan, you've got to give me your goals, and then we together can make plans to achieve them. But if you don't have any goals, it's sort of like saying batteries are not included, right? It's like, yeah, I got a nice cute toy for Christmas, but there ain't no batteries. I can't play with it. That's kind of how I feel about a realtor without goals. A realtor without goals is like a Christmas Day toy without batteries. It's a waste of the morning. We didn't get to play with that toy. The toy is your desire, your determination, your ambition. If you have written goals and plans to achieve them, we can build a business plan around that. So every realtor should have an area of specialization. But having an area of specialization is not effective unless you time block around that area of specialization. If Patty Sheehan down in Deer Creek, didn't invest the time working Deer Creek, she wouldn't have established that area of specialization. So we set aside time blocks during your week. And I was famous for Wednesdays at noon. I was famous for 5 a.m., 5 to 8 a.m. pulling my expireds, researching their phone numbers, door knocking on the ones that didn't have phone numbers. I was famous for 7 a.m. telephone calls out to expired listings. Those time blocks at 7 to 9 a.m. that would blow your mind when I was making $1 million a year selling real estate. You'd be like, why the hell are you calling these people at 7:38 in the morning? I said, because they answer their phone and I can talk to them and I can get a listing once a week just because I time block that. So whether your area of specialization is essential worker relocation like mine, or if your area of specialization is equestrian communities or tennis clubs or golf courses or specialization in multifamily, you set aside a couple of hours a week to lay bricks and build upon that. So in the residential real estate community, listing presentations are the difference makers between the elite realtors and the average realtors. You may disagree with me and you have my phone number. You can play devil's advocate, but I've got 40 years of proof positive with 7 digits a year in commissions. That relocation analysis is sort of the elixir, the magic potion that gets the consumer to loosen up their trust, respect, and influence, to give you a little bit of influence over them. So when you're thinking about specialization, it's very easy to hunt with a sniper rifle when you specialize. And a sniper rifle is 100% open rate in any direct mail scenario. Last week, I gave you a direct mail piece that referenced a surgical position at Lee Memorial. You've got to use a little bit of your creative imagination here, but imagine you took a buyer inquiry for a $400,000 house. So you shop 370 to 450. You find all the people who own homes in that area, find all the ones that have been there a little while and have some equity, and you send this handwritten note out to them. I did 20 handwritten notes a week personally for 20 years. My daughter, who's now a Florida State graduate, did 15 or 20 handwritten notes a week for me for her allowance. And then my cousin, who was unemployed for about 6 months when I was very aggressively pursuing listings, would send these handwritten notes out on my behalf. We broker all properties in Lee County through Sotheby's International as our exclusive licensed fulfillment partner. That is the disclosure at the end, that you are, in fact, brokering through Sotheby's, but you are approaching them as a relocation director for essential employees. Here's one for you. Calling on empty nesters, landlords, and vacation homeowners in Lee County. You could qualify for up to $10,000 to help with moving expenses, closing costs, or buy down your mortgage and trade on your new home. We're a nonprofit representing hundreds of desperate essential workers. We are. We have tons and tons of leads. This week, I'm going to tell you a little story. My wife had been a realtor for 30 years. Good one. Farming agent. She runs a coaching program called Farming Friday. She does, I think it's 6 sessions with realtors, 6 Fridays in a row about farming. And what she learned about farming is that it's sort of a small town nurturing environment, right? But she was teaching this exact skill set this week, and we twisted the words in the handwritten note a little bit to assume that they might be an essential employee or a veteran or a retired firefighter. Now, somebody asked me yesterday, can a retired firefighter get this? Yes. Can a retired teacher get this? Yes. You have to understand, if you don't already understand it, the $10,000 is curated through the mortgage, real estate, and title revenue generated from the file. The mortgage, title, and real estate agents donate a portion of their proceeds to first responders, teachers, firefighters, law enforcement, and then we gift, the nonprofit gifts that money back to the essential employees. So imagine you were going for a listing and you could bring up relocation grants on the listing because they also fit into the essential employee category. So now you've got this sort of fantastic elixir or magic potion to get the sellers to at least invite you in to their living room, right? And I like to use the term guaranteed offer from an essential worker on your chosen closing date because we can do that by asking the consumer what their I just switched the screen. Take a peek at this. This is another postcard or letter template, whether it's a handwritten note or a postcard. You do 10,000 postcards. It's a lot cheaper. You could do bulk mail on those, but on the handwritten notes, we recommend a 73-cent stamp. Essential worker crisis in Lee County, calling all empty nesters, landlords, and vacation homeowners. Think about the empty nesters. Think about the landlords. Think about the vacation homeowners and find them on your county tax rolls. If somebody owns 3 to 5 homes right now, I do. I own, I think 6 or 7. I think I own 7 homes, including my primary, and that my sister owns 5. You know, we have massive amount of equity built over the last few years. Well, what if we got a letter that said, hey, calling all empty nesters, landlords, and vacation homeowners. We are a nonprofit representing hundreds of desperate essential workers. We work with first responders, teachers, law enforcement, veterans, hospital districts. We provide you a guaranteed offer from an essential worker on your chosen closing date. I can deliver that promise, so I can make that statement. Now, I'm going to show you some objection handling techniques that help our realtors with listing skills. The first one is never talk about commissions, marketing, or price on the phone. Use these buying questions to get in the living room because the magic of rapport, credibility, trust, and influence occurs at the kitchen table. So one of the mistakes that average or below average realtor production have on the listing side of the fence is they allow the seller to sort of sell them. So, well, do you have a buyer? And then they stammer and kick the can down the road, right? They don't know what to say. So we say, yeah, actually, we have dozens of buyers. I misspelled that. Actually, we have dozens of buyers. That's called autocorrect. We actually do. We have dozens of buyers that are under buyer brokerage agreements with our brokerage that are shopping right now in Lee County. In fact, about 18% of the people who visit our brokerage sign a buyer brokerage agreement with us. So once we have that, they're shopping with only us, right? That's the exclusivity of being a Lee County essential employee relocation company, right? Now that Hero Benefits Network is becoming a legitimatized essential employee relocation network, we get the buyers before they go to Zillow. We get the buyers before they go to Realtor.com. We get the buyers before they go to the MLS. And we are able to lock them up in a buyer brokerage agreement right here in Lee County. And I'm showing property almost every day, but there's almost no inventory. And I want to tell you this truthfully as a seller. You have the world by the cojones as a seller today, okay? We can set your price. We could set your closing costs. Go over all the mathematics. Make sure you're happy with your net proceeds. After everybody gets paid, what do you get? You're happy with that number? Then you pick a date. Hey, I want to move on January 15th. I want to watch the Super Bowl in my new house. All right, well, that's what we're going to do then. Because I can guarantee you an offer, and I can guide that offer to that closing date. I'm willing to guarantee, and I'll never get paid if I don't. Guarantee means I don't get paid if I don't do it, right? So, well, what is your commission? Well, that's the real pleasant part about this. You say jump, we say how high, right? We only get paid if you're happy with the math. So if you say to me 429.9, then we have to make that math work. We represent a 501c3 charitable organization working directly with essential workers who are ready to buy. That is true. That is a fact. And we curate donations through private sector vendors that are willing to help with relocation costs. So imagine a teacher, a firefighter, a surgeon. In fact, we just had a surgeon relocate with us. And when a surgeon relocates and he signs a buyer brokerage agreement with us, we're the only brokerage in town that has that surgeon, right? And we're out looking for houses with that surgeon. And that's why I reached out to you. We curate donations that help with relocation costs, down payment assistance, and closing costs. And oh, by the way, Sotheby's International is our broker partner here in Lee County. So we can help you decide what commission you offer in this transaction. In other words, it's all about math, right? Commission's just a marketing decision. You could say, no, I don't want to market through commissions. And I could say, okay. And then a lot of sellers, especially cocky sellers, will say something like, bring me a buyer and I'll pay you 3%. And I just blatantly say it this way. I'll try to do it justice. Well, I appreciate that offer. Thank you. But it doesn't work exactly that way with Sotheby's. It's just because we haven't seen your house yet. So since I've never been inside your house, I've never seen the bathrooms and the kitchen and the living rooms and the backyard. I cannot assess the property. If we can do some math together, and if that math makes sense to you, we'll take a little assessment of the house. We'll walk through it together. You can show me all the reasons you bought that house, and I can find you some more reasons that people will want to buy that house. And then we'll go ahead and we'll take that assessment. We'll do some math. And if that math makes sense together, then we can present you a guaranteed offer from an essential worker at your price, your commission, and your closing date. So you say jump, we say how high. But I have to see your house, I have to walk through your house and do some mathematics with you to make sure that you're happy with the price, the commission, and the closing date. Once that's established, you'll sign a little permission agreement with me, a little piece of paper that says, hey, go ahead. And if I don't present the offer that matches your price, commission, and closing date, then you don't have to pay me any money. That's the guarantee. So never talk commissions, marketing, or price on the phone. Use these buying questions to get into the living room. This was taught to me by Mike Ferry, Tom Hopkins, Floyd Wickman, Brian Buffini, Craig Proctor, and Walter Sanford. Use rapport, credibility, trust, and influence. They all occur at the kitchen table. Devin Pinches is the membership director. She's my Julie McCoy on Your Love Vote. Randy Nemiroff is the chief connection officer at Hero Benefits Network. He's the guy building this national relationship with so many essential employee associations nationally. Carrie runs operations and social media and our human resources at the Hero Benefits Director. And all I do is run the Key to Coaching program to help you build reputational consistency. I'm going to wrap up on this, and then I'm going to give you an assignment. We'll call our coaching session done for the day. How long does it take to create a real estate farm area like Penny Sheehan did at Deer Creek, where she's capturing 40% of listings in that farm area for 15 years in a row? It takes about 2 years of 2 postcards a month for 2 years. So you got to factor in $1,000 every 2 weeks over the course of a $24,000 investment per year for 2 years. Once you've got about 50 grand invested into that farm area, you'll start to capture 20, 30, 40% of that farm area's business, and it'll be a very lucrative career path. How long before Aunt Betsy trusts you as a realtor? Well, it usually takes about 2 years in residential real estate and a significant amount of social media work to have Aunt Betsy trust you as a real realtor. How many contacts does it take to convert a for-sale owner? 12. We proved that through the e-bowl program, a for-sale owner conversion kit that's free to you. 10 letters, 10 emails, 10 direct messages over a 3-week period of time, so that e-bowl becomes the formula for converting for-sale owners. And then what would you have to do to earn respect, admiration, appreciation, and trust from your area's essential employees? I don't think that takes as much time. I don't think it takes 2 years to build respect, admiration, appreciation, trust from essential employees, because you're going to be working with a nonprofit, Hero Benefits Network, that has been doing this for 40 years, and you now become a we instead of an I. An I takes 2 years to build reputational consistency, but a we already has reputational consistency. I'm not going to cover this. I want to jump right to this assignment for the week, and hopefully you will take this assignment seriously. Here it is. Oh, wait, that's not it. Darn it. I'm going to go back. Why does this happen to me? Do you know? Ill prepared, Fitzy. Ill prepared. Did that. We did that. We did that. Okay. I'm going to go right here and tell you this. 20 notes a week. That's what I did for probably 18 years in a row as a residential real estate agent of RE/MAX. My best years, I sold 160, 170 homes with a little 3-person team. And when I became a broker owner, realtors from all over the county came to work for me because they knew I was the listing magnet. In other words, they were sick of being buyer's agents because the buyer's agency side of the transaction sucks. And if you don't know the difference, listings are more fun and buyers suck. That's my opinion. But if you get a buyer brokerage agreement in 2024, going into 25, and you have 100 buyer brokerage agreements, but you have no listings, you still suck. You're going to suck, even if interest rates go down. But if you start switching to proven practices in predetermined time blocks, and you just say, you know what, I don't like this guy, Russ, but because he has 40 years and because he sold 3,500 homes and because he listed about 2,200 of them himself, then I'm going to trust that calling on empty nesters, landlords, and vacation homeowners in Lee County could get me some listings. So I'm going to send out 20 notes this week, and then I'm going to send 20 notes next week. I'm going to send 20 notes the week after that. And then I'm going to trust that if this 40-year veteran is telling me this, that essentially I'm going to get some calls, right? And that the three buying questions that they're going to ask on the phone are going to be things like, do you have a buyer? What's your commission? Can you bring me a buyer? I'll pay you 3%. And if you have a strong objection handling technique for those 3 key objections, of course, there's how long have you been in the business? If you don't know how to answer that, you're already broken. How long have you been in the business? Well, we've been selling houses in Lee County for 30 years. So I would say, however long your brokerage has been in business, whenever there's a credibility concern about you personally, just say we. because I have a mentor, my broker. I have a partner, my team leader. I have a partner, my mentor. We do these transactions together. We would never do these transactions alone if I'm too new. You can walk yourself out of how long have you been in the business? How many houses have you sold? Well, we've sold over 1,400 homes this year. That's how a we objection handling technique overrides an I objection. So you got to learn how to use OHT we instead of I if you're a rookie or if you're not productive or if you're a little bit of a stumble bum. But if you practice your objection handling technique before you get into the listing inventory, living room, you're going to learn this magic happens. When they open the door and you're standing there and you go, hey, are you ready to get your house sold? And they say, calm down, kid. We ain't there yet. And you say, all right, well, do you mind if I take some pictures while I walk through the house? Because I'd love to show these to some of my buyers. Would you mind? Or do you mind if I at least take some exterior shots while I'm here? I have a camera with me when I walk into the place, and it's not my phone. I use a camera, like an actual camera, to make them feel like there's something special. Because even though I have a professional photographer, videographer, and a professional drone photographer, the sooner I get pictures, the sooner I can produce buyers. So I want to take a couple pictures of my own. I use a very, I would consider myself a professional photographer after 40 years. I can do wide angle lenses, and I can get this job done. So I'm sorry if that babbled on just a little bit too long, but your assignment is to send out 20 notes to empty nesters, landlords, and vacation homeowners in your county, offering up to $10,000 to help with moving expenses, closing costs, and buy down your mortgage interest rates. And as we get to know each other better, I'll even dig down deep and show you the listing presentation agenda so you can walk through these listings like a 30-year, 40-year veteran who takes, 10 listings a month. These are our experiences, okay? And in closing, if you choose to stay on the buyer side of the residential real estate transaction in 2025, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get punched in the guts. If you choose to work on the listing side to build your own listing inventory, you're going to get rewarded exponentially. Now, it's harder work to take listings. It's easier to take buyers out. But if you're willing to go the path less traveled and prospect for listings on a regular basis using the moniker of Hero Benefits Network, I guarantee you're going to get successful in listings because you got some of the best coaches in Devon, Carrie, that you could work with directly to learn how to take listings in 2025. My name is Russ Fitzpatrick. I'm your Key to Coach. If you want to reach me, I'm going to put my cell phone back up on the screen here at the end, 954-695-2314, or get certified at herobenefitsnetwork.org. Just go to herobenefitsnetwork.org and get certified. Or if you have a question about facilitating residential real estate transactions or a clear to close protocol, you can reach out to me directly at 954-695-2314.